Hey everyone, and welcome to Ghoul Society.
I'm Sara, and that's my older sister, Jamie.
We are grateful to be recording on the stolen lands of the Lekwungen, Wasanich, and Songhees nations. By listening to this podcast, you've been inducted as a member of the Underground Ghoul Society.
And begin.
Our beginnings are humble.
Yeah. Well, we really wanted to do this because we've always been interested in the paranormal, spooky stuff that goes on at night, bumps in the night, and, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really until, a couple weeks ago that I finally was like, I'm buying all this stuff. Do you want to record?
Yeah. Well, you texted me. And you were like, I really want to make a podcast.
I really want to make a podcast.
And I was like, okay, well, she can't do it alone.
No, I can't.
So here I am.
Yeah, here we are.
I was like, let's just fucking do it. What are we waiting for? Life's too young.
Life's too young.
Yeah, life's
too young. Life's too short.
Life's too short, and we're not getting any younger.
Yeah, and we should just do it because we want to.
It's like
even though no one's gonna listen.
Life's too young is like proofs in the pudding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just shortened it. I took out some words and I scrambled it up a little bit.
Like eggs.
Like, that's what I was thinking, like scrambled eggs. Well, Sara, would you like to start?
Yeah.
Are you going to tell me a story today?
I'm going to tell you a story. It's not as spooky as you thought it was. Because you texted me the other day and you were like, I'm actually kind of scared.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared.
Don't be scared because it's not even that spooky.
I'm looking at her like I don't trust her.
But you never trust me because I'm your little sister.
Okay, yes. Except the real truth of that is that I actually do deeply trust you.
Oh, yeah. But...
Yeah, brushes me off. She's like, I don't care for this sappy shit. I'm going to tell you about some ghosts.
Well, I went a little bit more historical.
I love that.
I know.
That's my favorite shit. That's my shit.
I know. So I was looking kind of ghost stories, but what I found most interesting was this story about the Ross Bay Cemetery in Victoria, BC.
My favorite cemetery.
Exactly. So I looked it up, found it really interesting. So here's a story of the Ross Bay Cemetery in Victoria, BC. It's nestled in the Fairfield neighborhood, and it's a historical Victorian-era cemetery in use since 1872.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Okay, it's actually kind of crazy that you're going to do this story because I found a gravestone there not that long ago of this lady named Isabella Ross. Is she in your story?
She is my story.
Are you serious?
Yes. That's what the
cemetery.
She's who the cemetery's named after.
Yeah, I know.
She's so badass.
Okay, this is why I'm like, I know I'm a witch.
Oh my God.
No, okay, for real. Because...
Wait, I'm gonna freak out.
Okay, to preface, we haven't told each other anything about our stories, like, at all.
Yeah.
And I accidentally let slip that mine was in Ireland.
But Jamie didn't know anything about mine.
No. I knew that Sarah's was here, but I didn't know what it was about. This is really crazy. Did you know she was the first woman in BC to own property?
Dude, that's literally what my story is. You're getting ahead of the storyline.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead. But also, let's also remember that she also stole property. I mean, they all stole property. Everyone, the colonizers stole the properties.
Well, she wasn't fully white.
Oh,
she was Indigenous.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Look at me.
I'm like, there.
stand up for people. Okay, tell me the story. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
Okay, so it sits along Dallas Road, which runs along the most southern tip of Vancouver Island and overlooks Ross Bay. And did you know, historical fact, the word cemetery was adopted by early Christians from the Greek word koimerterion. Sorry about the pronunciation. It means sleeping place of dormitory.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so now we're going to kind of go into Victorian era cemeteries. I just went down a rabbit hole the other day when we were at the coffee shop. That's what I was doing the whole time, was just researching Victorian era cemeteries and their symbols.
Yeah, that's great. I'm really excited.
Okay. So Victorian era cemeteries are full of symbolic references to religions and the life of the person being memorialized. These symbols are often shown through the stone, the tombstone, which acts as a media to mark one's life on earth. So very artistic sometimes. For example, when looking at crosses, a traditional Latin cross is the most commonly associated with Christianity, whereas a Greek cross is more akin, this is a bad analogy, to a plus sign where the two lines cross in the center of each other.
Oh.
And a cavalry cross is a common Christian cross that sits atop 3 steps, and those steps signify faith, hope, and love for the deceased.
I'm not religious, but that's really cute.
Yeah, I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very
That's
sweet.
nice.
It's very, like, subtle.
Yeah.
Moving on to symbolism, there are many ways in which someone is memorialized. A few that I found interesting is geometric symbolism. So a circle around a cross represents eternity and never-ending existence. And then you can also see a pentagram, which was used by sorcerers in the Middle Ages because they believed it offered protection against evil spirits, whereas Christianity adopted it to suggest the 5 wounds suffered by Christ on the cross.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then...
Classic.
Yeah.
Christians stealing things.
Yeah.
No offense.
And then it was derived to mean demonic.
Like
at some point, like Satanic Panic,
I was
1980s.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But Wiccans use it as protection against demons. So people always get that wrong.
That's so funny because in the ghost shows, they're always like, oh, someone did a pentagram in here. Let's go sit on the pentagram
Yeah,
and
like
be
a
abducted by a
ritual.
demon. Yeah. And they're like, someone did a demonic sacrifice here. But in reality, maybe a witch was just like, we got to protect this space.
Yeah.
Wait, so all the haunted places that have pentagrams are actually
Traditionally, it means protection against evil spirits.
That's so wild.
I know.
Everything has just changed in my mind a little bit.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very interesting. Other symbolism most commonly seen are animals. A white dove traditionally represents the Holy Spirit in Christianity. A lamb typically seen on headstones of children because it represents purity and innocence. You can also see empty chairs for children. Kind of shows the life they didn't get to lead. Yeah. Going on to more happy symbols, art and icons. An anchor typically represents hope, or a sailor.
I thought you were going to say a sailor.
Yeah.
Like, duh.
A book represents faith, but I would personally see it as someone who loves books.
Yeah,
But
cute.
that's because we're not really religious. Anyway, coming back to Ross Bay Cemetery, it's a designated heritage site by the city of Victoria, known for laying to rest multiple famous figures throughout history, including, but not limited to, colonizer James Douglas, BC's first, quote, governor, unquote. Yeah. Robert Dunsmuir, another colonizer, a businessman and politician in the 1800s.
Also boo.
Yeah. And artist Emily Carr. She's buried there. She's known mainly for her paintings inspired by Indigenous villages and Canada's vast landscapes.
She's a vibe.
She's
a vibe. A lot of people talk about her.
Yeah, a lot of people do
talk about her. She's like the hot gossip of Victoria.
Yeah.
She actually really is. But it's really interesting because I think that she spent a lot of time trying to really get to know different Indigenous groups and peoples. And I think she did it with a lot of grace and care and compassion.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to take what was rightfully theirs and make it her own.
Mm-hmm.
It's like inspiration versus copying and stealing.
And I think her art really shows, like her paintings of Indigenous villages show the beauty of Indigenous life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, it's still from like a Western white settler viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But I think of the people of that time, I feel like she was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a vibe. But most notable, as you mentioned earlier, is a person whom the cemetery got its namesake, Isabella Mainville Ross. So,
Literally so wild.
that is wild.
This is what happened. Do you want to know the story?
Yeah.
I might give away a little bit here.
That's fine.
So I was down visiting Ross Bay Beach, and I usually just bike through a certain way. And then I was like, today, you know, I have a bunch of time. I'm gonna just bike through the cemetery. I'm gonna enjoy it. I really love biking through there. And I came upon Isabella Ross's tombstone because it's different than all of the other ones. Have you seen it?
I've seen pictures of it.
Okay. I was like, oh, that's interesting. This one's different. And I just was possessed to like draw it. So I sketched I sketched it in my sketchbook.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I was just feeling it. I was like, I'm gonna sketch this. And then I was like, damn, what a cool gal. And I like wrote down that she was, yeah.
Wow.
So
okay.
it's kind of
that's
really serendipitous. That was a few weeks ago. I was like, I
picked my story a few weeks ago.
Really?
Yes. When we talked about doing the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, what, 2 weeks ago? That's when I started writing about her.
Oh, maybe I went through there like longer than that ago.
Oh, okay.
Since this was my week off, time is an illusion.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know what's going on anymore.
Right. Okay. That's really creepy, though.
I know.
I don't really like that.
I'm sorry, I'm a witch. I mean it when I say it.
I know. So, Isabella Mainville Ross, she was born in 1808 to a French boatman, Joseph Mainville, who worked for the Hudson Bay Company, boo, and an Indigenous Ojibwe woman. Her name was Josette. No last name, I guess. Didn't really see that.
Wait, that was her name?
Josette.
Isabella's name was Josette?
No, her mom.
Oh my god. Sorry, I literally already got lost and sidetracked.
No. Oh boy.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm with you.
So her mom, Josette.
Okay.
She's Ojibwe.
Awesome.
Okay.
We love her.
Yes, we do. A little side note. The Ojibwe are Anishinaabe people whose traditional territories reside around the current Great Lakes in the east and northern plain regions of now Canada.
So how did she come here? Or when? Do you know about
Isabella? That? I'm getting there.
Oh, no, Josette, I mean.
Oh, Josette. Well, Josette didn't come here.
But she's an Anishinaabe.
Yeah. Ojibwe Nation, the Ojibwe Nation is a branch of Anishinaabe peoples in the east.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how'd she get in the west? Oh, we're not...
Oh my god.
Wait, I thought you were talking about her being here already. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm listening.
You're so lost.
Okay, there's Isabella and her mom is Josette.
Yeah, and her dad is Joseph.
And where are we right now?
We're in Ontario.
East. Oh, that's the part I missed.
I said Isabella was born in Ontario.
Did I miss that?
Yes.
Okay, are we going to cut all of this? Okay.
Okay, now we're going to move on to Isabella's life, okay?
Okay.
She was born in 1808 in what's now called Ontario. She was born to a French boatman. His name was Joseph. He worked for the Hudson Bay Company in Ontario. Her mother was an Indigenous Ojibwe woman. Her name is Josette. We love her.
Sara had to explain that again for maybe the third time, but we're here and we're doing it.
Side note, the Ojibwe Nation is a branch of the Anishinaabe peoples whose traditional territories reside around the current Great Lakes in the east and northern plain regions of Canada. So we don't really know a lot about Isabella's early life other than she was born in Ontario. Unfortunately, there's no written record.
Classic.
What we do know is that in 1822, she was married to a Charles Ross. That's where she got her last name, Ross.
Gotcha.
He was a fur trading clerk for the Hudson Bay Company. They were married at a fur trading post in what's considered back then a country marriage, which just meant that there wasn't a priest there to solidify their marriage into law. So they were kind of like common law married.
Interesting, because it wasn't done in a church.
Yeah.
He's like, hey babe, marry me at the fur trading post.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, literally.
But it was, so to them, their marriage was awesome. And to outsiders, people are like, they're not really married?
Probably. Well, I mean, her father was white and her mom was Indigenous too. So for her family, that wasn't unheard of. But I'm sure they got some pretty dirty looks.
Yeah.
and remarks. But I will say that Charles was like pretty high up in the fur trading in Hudson Bay Company. So maybe they didn't get as many bad looks because he was white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, although their marriage did get lawfully like solidified, I guess, in 1838.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know why it took them so long.
Like it took the government so long
No, it took them long
to do it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they didn't want to involve the government.
I mean, maybe.
Marriage is a dirty institution.
Yeah. And they already had kids too before they got lawfully married.
Right.
Yeah. Very weird. Going back to the mid-1820s, Charles and Isabella moved to Fort Vancouver on the west coast of BC for Charles' work with the Hudson's Bay Company. This is where they had their second marriage, in Vancouver.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. The couple had 9 children. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was so common, but just imagine, how old is she at this point?
I don't know. She was in her teens when she got married.
Okay. And she was born in 1808.
Yeah.
And by what year did they have 9 children?
So when they got lawfully married in the church in Fort Vancouver, that was 1838.
So 30 years later. So she's probably 30 with 9 kids.
And they already had their 9 kids. And all of their kids lived into adulthood.
That's pretty amazing.
I know.
That's almost me with 9 children.
Yeah. That's too much.
Whoa. You had a visceral body reaction to that. I love it. Give me 9 kids, whatever.
Okay.
But I need money.
Yeah. Can't afford kids. Welcome to 2024. Okay, where was I? Oh, so in the 1840s, the Ross family moves to Fort Victoria because Charles was, I don't really know if there's a term, but he was to oversee the building of Fort Victoria. And at that time, he was a, quote, chief trader, unquote, in the Hudson's Bay Company. So he was pretty high up at this point. But 4 years later, Charles died.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. They think it's appendicitis.
Oh, no.
All it said was intestinal illness.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Okay.
So his time at Fort Victoria was very short-lived.
I'd say.
Yeah. After his death, probably wanting to get away from the city where Charles died, Isabella and her children moved to an area near what's now Tacoma, Washington, in the United States. Yeah. So they ferried across the ocean.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To work on a farm.
Yeah.
They moved there just to work on a farm and live there.
That's what you do.
Yeah, that's what you do. And she was able to earn enough money to return to Victoria in 1852.
So, okay, yeah, I understand.
Mm-hmm. So almost 10 years. She earned enough money to come back on a boat with her 9 kids.
Whoa. She's a hardworking woman.
She is. Well, yeah. She's a saver.
She's a badass.
She is. And in 1852, she was able to purchase 100 acres of land in Victoria.
Whoa. I thought that the land was passed down to her.
No,
from
she bought
her hubby.
it. She was the first registered landowner.
That's pretty
as a woman.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as an Indigenous woman also. Yeah. Like, whoa.
First Indigenous woman registered landowner. So she lawfully bought that land.
That's amazing.
I don't know who sold it to her, but I guess they didn't really care.
Yeah, good.
She was just like, here's money. I want 100 acres.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that for her. Love that for her 9 kids.
Yeah.
Hey, kids, go run around on the 100 acres. You'll be fine.
Well, so they built a farm on the land and she called it Fowl Bay Farm because of the waterfowl. Because there was abundance of these waterfowl birds. And I think that the neighborhood of Fowl Bay in Victoria derives from that farm.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow, my jaw just dropped.
Yeah.
For real. Sorry. I know sometimes my tone is off, but yeah. Wow. But then they spelt it wrong.
Yeah, they changed the name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And now it's a fowl bay. Instead of a waterfowl bay.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't find any information about her time on the farm, but at some point she actually had to sell a bunch of the land in different plots to individual buyers because the farm was very unsuccessful.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really sad, but I get it. You can only make so much money from a farm.
Well, and it was 100 acres.
Yeah.
That's a lot of land.
It's like all of Victoria.
Well, it's all of Ross Bay and like Fairfield area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's huge. So anyway, one of these land plots was purchased by a man named Robert Burnaby. And guess, Burnaby, Vancouver was named after him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Checks out.
He was a politician and a civil servant, but in 1872, the slope overlooking Ross Bay was purchased by the city of Victoria for the purpose of the cemetery.
Purchased from Isabella?
From Robert.
Okay.
Yeah. So Robert bought
Oh.
that land where the cemetery is from Isabella, and then in 1872 the city of Victoria bought it from him
Okay.
for the cemetery.
Right.
I guess because it's so beautiful. It overlooks the water.
It's gorgeous.
There's a lot of trees.
It's a perfect spot.
Yeah.
There's so many deer. Like 100 deer a day.
Yeah, at least. And they get tracked. The city tracks the deer.
And then what?
They just track where they live and move.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
That's why they
was
have little
prepared for
things
the
in their
worst.
ears.
Aw.
Yeah.
I was prepared for some culling.
I don't think so.
Okay.
In 1885, Isabella Mainville Ross died while in the care of the convent sisters of St. Anne's. Yes.
We need to do a story on St. Anne's.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
That's a story for another
You're
time.
giving me a face. Okay. Did you dibs that one? Are you dibsing it?
No.
Oh, okay.
You can do it.
No, it's fine.
Okay. And Isabella was buried where the cemetery stands now, the headstone you saw. But when she was buried in an unmarked grave. Probably because she was Indigenous
Holy
and
shit.
a woman
On her own property.
in the late 1800s.
I guess technically the property was bought from her, but
Yeah.
that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. She didn't have a headstone, but the city of Victoria. Well, actually, it was the Old Cemeteries Society of Victoria. They made a headstone for her in 1994.
Wow.
So she went that long.
That's like 100 years.
100 years without a headstone.
She's like laying there for 100 years just getting more and more mad.
Yeah.
Like, every year that passes. She's like, holy fuck, you guys. She's like, do you know how hard I had to work for this place?
I know.
Wow.
And she did it all on her own.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Technically. Well, I did see a report somewhere that after Charles died, she married again. But her name didn't change.
Yeah.
Because Ross Bay, Isabella Ross. Also, people always think it's named after Charles.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Because he was a fur trader.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it was named after her because she's a badass bitch.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay. And now we move on to the hauntings.
Ooh.
Looking from Reddit, most people who visit the cemetery tend to feel on edge or claim to have a very eerie feeling. Do you have that when you go there?
It depends. I think if I really sink into it, I feel that. It's not so much eerie that I feel. I actually feel really safe there.
Oh, okay.
But I do feel a lot of presence happening there all the time. But I don't really feel scared. I'm like, okay, I feel like there are people here watching me.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally don't feel scared. I think especially after seeing Isabella's grave, I was like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, women rule the world. So,
yeah. Maybe she's protecting it.
Yeah, it kind of feels that a little bit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, this is my land. No bullshit's gonna happen here.
Yeah, that's right.
Even in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay. And when I was doing my research, I came across this blog. It's titled Living Library. It's by Shannon Sin. And they actually posted some pictures that someone took at night in the cemetery. There's like an apparition of sorts.
Are you going to show me the photo?
Yeah, I'm going to show you.
I'm excited.
Okay, sorry. I should have pulled this up before. But, okay. Look, so it looks like there's fog, almost, or smoke. But the person who took the picture said it was a clear, starry night. So there's that. And then, do you see that? And yeah, it's very spooky.
Like right there is the head and then the shoulders and the skirt.
Yeah.
Is that just a tree branch though?
I don't.
Whoa. Okay, I love it.
So definitely haunted.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. We can put that blog maybe in the description.
Yeah, that would be great. Mm-hmm.
We can do that.
Yeah, we should add all of our resources will be in the description for each of our podcasts episode.
Yes. Additionally, there are rumors of underground catacombs that run under Ross Bay Cemetery.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I was searching on Reddit because adventurers, people who like to look for abandoned stuff, they said that the tunnels are closed.
Tunnels?
They were open.
Or catacombs?
The tunnels of the catacombs.
Okay. I guess they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah. But it's a rumor that they were catacombs. Maybe it was just like sewage tunnel at one point.
Because there's drainage on the ocean side.
Yeah, drainage tunnel.
But it's not that big.
People claim to see really spooky stuff in there.
Whoa.
Also rumored to happen at Ross Bay Cemetery are satanic rituals. What a shock.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, right? Although these are based off of a book. I went down a rabbit hole again. It's called Michelle Remembers, and it's written by a discredited psychiatrist, Lawrence Padzer, and his patient turned wife, Michelle Smith. Mm-hmm.
He's discredited.
He's discredited as a psychiatrist.
So he's bad at his job.
Yes.
Okay.
So in the book, Michelle claims that she was abused as a child and that her parents were in the satanic cult and that they did like an 80-day ritual in Ross Bay Cemetery, like a demonic ritual.
80 days?
Yeah.
How?
Well, it's discredited because school records say she didn't miss any school. Her friends from when she was a kid say
so this whole thing is made up. Probably.
Yeah. Well, like implanted memories.
Whoa. Oh,
into Michelle's brain from her husband.
I think I've heard about this book.
When he was her psychiatrist.
Yes, I know about this book.
Yeah, because they did hypnosis therapy.
That's really intense. And then what, he manipulated her into marrying him?
I don't know. I assume.
Like probably, right?
Probably.
Whoa. Okay.
I know. Very creepy. Lastly, but not least, Isabella is said to haunt the cemetery, which stands on the land she once owned. But she's not the only ghost people see. People tend to see a elderly couple. They don't know their names.
That's really cute.
But yeah, like elderly couple ghosts like walking around together in the cemetery. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really forever.
Oh,
they're really together forever.
It really is forever.
Yeah.
That's super sweet.
I know. And then the other ghost that is most commonly seen is of a man named David Fee. So I'm going to talk a little bit about him because his death is very interesting to me. Picture this. It's Christmas Eve, 1890.
Oh, yes.
You're standing outside of St. Andrew's Cathedral in Victoria. Mm-hmm. You know the one on the corner of you.
Falling. Or it's probably not snowing. The one day it snows, the snow is falling.
Yes. Midnight Mass was disrupted by a loud and noticeable sound in the street. People rush outside to find a man laying in the rain with a noticeable hole through his coat and chest.
Okay.
And there's blood everywhere.
Oh, God. Okay.
The man, it's David. He's lying in the middle of the street, kind of. He had just left the church himself, and he was on his way to a Christmas party. He was visiting from Nanaimo to see his parents who lived in Victoria for Christmas. He was well-liked and a noted volunteer and socialite. So what was the motive of his death? A friend who was with David at the time, they were standing outside the church talking before David was about to leave, would note that a figure came up to them and said, quote, "I challenge you," unquote.
To a duel.
Before he raised his shotgun.
Oh, God.
And shot David.
How do you even like carry that
range,
around?
Like touching him. Like close range. This man, his name was Whalen. Well, that's his last name. Or Phelan. I saw both. So, Lawrence. That's his name. Lawrence Whalen. Plot twist. 2 a.m. He walks into the police station. He's like, "I just murdered that guy." Yeah. He just walked into the police station, handed himself in.
Interesting. He was
And
having some problems.
Well, and it's weird because the police found his shotgun abandoned at a house a couple blocks away from the cathedral, from the church. But then he just handed himself in anyway.
Okay.
Very weird. So at the time of Lawrence's trial, the Crown would argue that it was a case of mistaken identity and that he had intended to kill a man named Thomas Deasy, a foreman who worked on laying the cornerstones of the cathedral.
Thomas D's nuts.
God. This guy's a fucking asshole.
That's why I said it.
Oh. Well, I guess they both
know.
are. But anyway, so I think the church was still under construction, but they were also using it for mass.
Okay.
So Thomas Deasy was working on the construction. He was a foreman, so he was like telling everybody what to do.
Classic.
So this is the story, apparently.
Okay.
A dispute between the construction crew, which was mainly made up of Irish Americans, and site managers had arisen 2 months before Christmas of 1890 regarding the flags being raised over the site of the cathedral, which is so stupid. They were arguing about the frickin' flags.
Like countries' flags.
Yes.
Okay.
So they had a Union Jack flag to represent Great Britain.
Jesus.
Of course.
Of
Because
course.
white people.
Yeah.
They had a U.S. flag.
Because white people.
And they had an Irish flag, which Deasy had ordered them to take down. Because at the time, the Irish flag was a Union Jack flag with an Irish coat of arms on top.
Right.
Because Great Britain had like hold of Ireland. Ireland wasn't independent at the time.
Okay.
So anyway, they were upset because the Irish wanted to be independent of Great Britain, obviously.
Yeah, they were oppressed a ton.
A lot, yeah. So Thomas Deasy, he ordered the flag to be taken down to advocate for Irish independence. And from witness accounts, this caused Lawrence Whalen to vow revenge against Thomas Deasy.
Wow. Because he didn't want Irish independence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is like, you're going to kill a guy over that?
Yeah. That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I mean, I don't get it.
But it's still like...
I get the political unrest, but
Yes.
I don't get the killing.
Yeah, I know. And so it's important to note during this time in Canada, people were very on edge regarding Irish nationalists. Only 20 years prior, the country had been, quote unquote, invaded by Irish armies to conquer Canada and trade it to Queen Victoria to gain Irish independence.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the Irish were like, let's go get Canada. And then we're going to tell the Queen, be like, you want Canada back?
Damn.
Give us independence.
Whoa.
Yeah.
They're like, let's use Canada, the entire country, as a hostage.
Yeah, basically.
Wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they didn't really win, I guess.
No.
It's obviously.
No, you're living in...
Anyway.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. So back to Christmas Eve, 1890. Whalen was chosen to guard the construction site at St. Andrew's Cathedral and brought his shotgun with him, knowing that Deasy, who is known for wearing a white coat, would attend midnight mass at St. Andrew's that night. But when David Fee was spotted wearing a white coat, Whalen just walked up to him, said, "I challenge you," and shot him.
Whoa.
So,
he didn't even give him a chance to do the challenge.
No.
Like, what was the challenge? I challenge you to hold your breath underwater for 60 seconds.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So
He's just challenging. He's like, I challenge you. Bam.
basically.
Okay.
Anyway, the Crown was like, it's mistaken identity. Whalen claimed that David and his friend were causing a disturbance outside of the cathedral and told them to show some respect because they were in front of church and God and everything.
Dude, God loves to party.
I think so.
Yeah.
And David had like a toy trumpet around his neck because it's Christmas.
I love that.
And apparently he blew it in Whalen's face when he told them to show some respect to the church.
Iconic.
Yeah.
He's like,
So then Waylon was like, boom, shoot you dead because you blew a toy trumpet in my face.
Whoa.
Yeah, this guy has some major anger problems.
It's very unhinged.
But he claimed his gun wasn't supposed to be loaded.
Okay.
But then why do you have a shotgun with you? I guess it's the 1800s of it all.
Yeah, it's the 1800s of it all, and it's just threatening.
Yeah, it is. But I read that even an unloaded shotgun at close range can do some major damage to the body.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could tear a little hole in you.
Yeah. Other sources said he was really drunk.
I believe that too.
Yeah, he's just sitting there guarding this construction site.
Drinking. He has a flask.
He's like, oh, that guy in that white coat, that's Deezy. Goes and shoots him. Uh-oh, that's not Deezy.
Guess I should tell the cops what I did.
Guess I should turn myself in at 2 a.m.
Wild times.
Yeah. Other sources have said that Waylon thought that David Fee was a ghost in his white coat.
Okay, love that.
And that a rumor of the church had been going around that it was haunted by a bishop who was murdered there. So that might be a story for another time too.
I didn't know there was so much murder in this city.
Well, it was the 1800s.
True.
Was there really a law? Not
I guess
really.
there was also a lot of murder of people by
Yeah,
white
just
people.
all the time.
Non-white people were murdered by white people a ton as well.
Just for like the fun of it.
Yeah, it's really
Murder
fucked
used
up.
to be really commonplace.
And you don't like someone, you just kill them.
And now it's like the psychology of it all. Like a sociopath. Although not all sociopaths are murderers.
No.
That's not true.
No way.
But everyone thinks now that a murderer has something wrong with them in their brain chemistry. But back then it was just like, oh yeah, I just murdered a guy.
Yeah, I was just
I
mad.
wanted. I just, that's what we do.
There's so much built up trauma that's not processed.
Yeah.
You just get so hateful.
Displaced anger. They don't know where to put it.
No.
To their wives, I guess, and their children.
God, it's really dark, Sarah.
Well, it's true.
It's true.
Okay, wrapping up here. Waylon was ultimately convicted of manslaughter by a jury.
But
of white men. Because it's the 1800s.
But it was premeditated.
I know. But he was convicted of manslaughter.
Okay.
Yeah, very weird.
Yeah.
Although the judge thought he was guilty of premeditated murder, which is true. So Waylon was sentenced to penal servitude, or to be a slave. Although he would be free after 10 years by a Ministry of Justice who was like, oh, I feel bad for him. He shouldn't be a slave.
Honestly, I kind of get that. I feel like he did his time.
Yeah.
He did
I
his
think so.
10 years of being a slave. That probably fucking sucked.
Oh,
like,
probably.
don't kill people. And there's no good way to actually, quote, punish, unquote, people. Because I have strong opinions about the carceral system.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
But
it was kind of weird that he was sentenced to being a slave. Or it was mainly slave labor. He was doing labor, just wasn't getting paid.
Right.
Because the judge who was presiding over the case was commonly known as the hanging judge. And he hanged men for much lesser crimes than
fucked
manslaughter. He just loved to hang people.
It's
like, oh, you stole some bread? Get hanged.
Oof.
Yeah.
That man has some problems.
Yeah. So I don't know why he was lenient with Waylon. It's kind of weird because he thought it was premeditated murder.
Yeah, Waylon must have had some people in the circles.
I assume.
Yeah, must.
Yeah. So, long story short, David Fee was laid to rest in Ross Bay Cemetery, where people claim to see his bloodied white coat form walk around the grounds. Oh, I just got chills.
Ooh. I burped.
Visceral reaction.
David is in my stomach.
Thanks, David. But people also claim to see him on the steps of St. Andrew's in his white bloodied coat as well.
So where is St. Andrew's?
It's on the corner of
Pandora?
No, View and Blanchard.
Okay.
Or View, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. By
by
that karaoke place on View Street. It's that cathedral church on that corner.
Gotcha.
That's St. Andrews.
Okay.
And I didn't realize it was that old.
No, me neither.
Doesn't really look it. But anyway, next time you're near there, just look at the street and be like, oh, someone died there.
Mm-hmm.
Was shot.
Let us know if you see a ghost.
Yeah. Oh, could you imagine if someone was like, hey, emailed us and was like, I saw David's ghost.
I would love that.
Me too.
Yeah. Email us with your ghost stories. Are we going to have episodes with people's
Listener?
stories?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People send them in.
Yeah. No one's ever going to email us.
Probably not.
Probably not. That's fine.
Okay. It's fine.
It's fine.
So, to conclude my story on Ross Bay Cemetery, it's a popular area for locals and tourists due to its Victorian-era burial sites of granite or sandstone, beautiful trees such as Japanese cherry blossoms, and the guided tours offered by the Old Cemeteries Society of Victoria. The tours that are offered include walking and online tours, which is cool. Like, I think it's on Zoom.
I respect that.
Yeah. There's a couple of really interesting ones that I saw. So there's one back in June. It's about Black history. Mm-hmm. It's really about people who were integral to the community and city of Victoria through the 1800s, people of color.
Nice.
There's one about, there's a couple about Emily Carr. Mm-hmm. So you go to her gravestone and they're like, oh, she did all these really cool things. Mm-hmm. Maybe you'll see her ghost. There's one called Twisted History, which includes tales of a severed hand and Billy the Kid. So he must have come to Victoria at some point.
What?
Or something.
Wait, why do I know that?
Because he's really famous, like, outlaw.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Wild West, baby.
Wild West.
Yeah, really interesting. Another tour they offer is about the Point Ellis Bridge disaster. It's a really fucked up story, which I think I'll do in a later episode.
I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. And then I think there's a tour about murderers. This is more of a Halloween one. But they do a tour of murderers and their victims. And I think, like, they're both buried in Ross Bay.
Okay.
So imagine burying your loved one in, or like imagine hearing that your loved one's murderer was born in the same set, or born.
Has anyone been born in a I'm losing it.
Cemetery?
If anyone has been born in a cemetery
please
before,
let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
But imagine the murderer of your loved one being buried in the same cemetery as your loved one.
That would be really challenging.
Yeah.
I think I would be mad.
I think so too. Mm-hmm. I mean, they both deserve a resting place, but can they go to a different cemetery?
Yeah.
That's kind of sad.
I have a question. Maybe you don't have the answer, but is Ross Bay Cemetery full?
No.
Really?
You can still... Well, it's hard to say because I did see a section on the Old Cemeteries Society page, and it did have a little side page of applying to have like your urn there or like be buried there. But I don't know if it's just for cremation that they're accepting.
That would make sense because I feel there's not that much space left.
I know.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they would do that. Because obviously they're not going to disturb anything. You can't really move a cemetery around.
No, but there are cemeteries that are buried by water places. And when the floods happen.
Yeah.
You know about this.
Yeah, that happened downtown Victoria.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Where?
You know where the Burger King is? On the corner of Johnson and Douglas?
I probably know.
The cemetery? Or the cemetery.
The Burger King. I do know.
Yeah, across from 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
That used to be the cemetery of Fort Victoria.
Oh, shit. I do remember you telling me about this.
Because it was a little natural valley at some point when they were building Fort Victoria. So they were like, oh, we'll put all the dead bodies in that little valley. Well, surprise, surprise. At 1 year, a flood came. All the bodies came up out of the ground.
Wow. What? Into the Burger King?
I mean, yeah. What's now the Burger King?
Okay. But has anyone seen any bodies since the Burger King has been made there?
No, but there's bodies under the Burger King.
Wow. We should go in there and ask them if...
are haunted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder.
That whole like area used to be the cemetery of Fort Victoria.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a spooky area.
And there's still bodies in the ground.
I feel spooky there.
I do too. I don't like being there at night.
It's dark.
It is.
In a weird way where it's not like it's actually physically darker than any of the other streets.
But it is.
It feels dark.
Yeah, I don't like walking down there. I don't like going to that bus stop.
No.
Scary. Anyway, that's my story of the Ross Bay Cemetery.
Yes.
And Isabella Mainville Ross.
Thank you.
David Fee.
And David Fee. Thank you.
David.
That was beautiful.
Welcome. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and we will see you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Feel free to email us at ghoulsocietypod@gmail.com with comments, questions, or stories. You can follow us on Instagram at Ghoul Society Pod.